New haircut. Who this? Oh, guys, the first time I haven't worn a hat in a long time. Sorry, no, I'm a nerd. Had to open up with the cringe nerd. That's okay. Sometimes I'm just a nerd to myself. What's going on, everybody? It's been a long week since I feel like we haven't talked in a while. I'm just gonna start off real quick before I get to questions. I had a horrible week. Had to end up going to the ER with stomach issues. Still don't really know what's going on. Probably one of the worst stomach pains I've had since my appendix got taken out. So, not really sure what that was all about, but that was horrible. How you guys doing? It's almost Christmas. It's good to see you guys. Merry Christmas to everybody. We are a few days out. Almost time. I've got some questions pulled up for you guys from Patreon. I've got questions here for you guys. So if you ask your question, I will try to get to it. Like I said, it's good to see you guys. I did see somebody already dropped a question right off the bat up at the top. So I will get to her question and then I'll go back down to the bottom. But it's good to see you guys for real. Tell me if you can hear me. Hopefully, mic is good. Merry Christmas to everybody. How you guys doing? Okay, so I'm going to start with our first question up here at the top. And she asks, would you do a collab with other YouTubers? That's a good question. Absolutely. I have really no bias towards, well, let me just put it this way. I am very open-minded. I'm definitely willing to talk to anybody. But in certain scenarios, there are certain people that I think the conversation wouldn't go anywhere. It's almost like, talking to my mom and some YouTubers, I believe, if you could call them that. Depends on what you define as a YouTuber. If somebody's consistent, I guess you could call them a YouTuber. But I would definitely collab with people. We have so many things to talk about outside of just the hard part of my life that I've shared with you. This is not going to be the end all be all of everything we talk about. So I definitely collab with other people. I'd love to speak to other people. As you guys know, I think one of the best conversations I've ever had was with Dr. John Mathias from Hidden True Crime. We had one of the best, most productive conversations I've ever had. So the goal of the podcast is to have those type of situations where I can talk with other people, and if eventually talk about going on their channel or something of that nature, we could do that. So that is what it is. Tanya says, hey, Colby, if you're still having a hard time with your tummy and they're not giving you any answers, ask them to check your gallbladder. They did. That's what I was worried about, is that my gallbladder was going to have to get taken out. I was worried because I already had my appendix taken out. I was freaking out. Denise said, nice haircut. Thank you, Denise. That's nice of you. Yeah, it's the first time you guys are really seeing my hair. It's not bad. It's nice to have my hair out, not wear a hat. I don't know how to style it yet. This is a very new style. This is a very new type of hair for me. I've either had a bun, really short hair, or spiky hair like Edward. So this is definitely a first for me. I'm going to read. We have our Patreons ask questions. So I'm going to read their questions to you guys real quick. And then I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to try to take it slow tonight, read as many of these as I can, and answer your guys' questions. So just bear with me real quick while we go through these. So one of the first questions was, what holiday traditions are you and Kelsey starting with your family? This is from Jin. That's a really good question. It's a very big deal for us to start holiday traditions for our family. I feel that our kids need to just reshape. We're reshaping the future of our kids' lives. We're not bringing a lot of everything that we really grew up with. We wanted to make their lives special. We want them to have their own traditions. So we do Christmas lights, Christmas cookies. On Christmas, we talk about Jesus, like things of that nature. We just try to keep consistent. And I'm trying to think. We used to do illuminations, but we didn't do that this year. But we really like to do lights, music, and we like to do little traditions. And so that'd probably be the number one tradition that we do. Christine, did the Deadpool man show up on your camera? Guys, so all the members saw this morning, I did a video, and as I'm doing the video, this person literally walking by, he literally goes up and literally is Deadpool from head to toe, has the mask on, full suit, two swords on his back, everything. I mean, it was unbelievably it was wild. I could not believe it. This guy had it was zipped down and he was just walking down the street, full Deadpool outfit. No idea. No idea why. So that was really interesting if you guys saw that this morning. I did not expect to see Deadpool walking down the sidewalk. Um, another question was, do you get to spend holidays with people on your mom's side of the family, Kay and Larry, or have you tried to make new traditions with friends or like Friendsmas? We do Christmas with our family, with our kids. We now have 3 kids. So with that being the case, you know, we have our plate full. We yeah, we just spend time with our family, our immediate family, which is our kids and us. And then Lisa asks, "How do you seem so positive?" She says she goes through a lot. I don't know if I want to mention everything on here that she says she went through, but she went through a lot of abuse in her life. And her number one question is, "How do you seem so positive?" So, um, I think my best advice to anybody for staying positive in your life really is, I think you have to go through the stages of grief. I think you have to come to a place of acceptance. You have to understand this has been years and years and years to get to the point that I'm at today. And the whole time I had to find anchors. And what I mean by anchors, and this is obviously this I could talk about this all night. I want to make sure I answer your guys' questions, but um there there is a point in your life where if it gets this bad, if it ever gets to the low point of your life, and you don't know if you have it anything to move on, you get to a point where you literally ask, it's you literally find yourself in a place saying, I'm either going to fall out and stop living, or I have to find a way to get up and keep going. There's no other option. And I've been in that place multiple different points in my life. And you really have those choices. And the choice really comes down to, how do I keep going? Once you find the strength and the will, and once you get to that point, I think that the positivity starts to, I feel like I'm not answering your question the way I want to. Positivity is a choice, just like negativity. And you can reinforce either side. You can either reinforce the negative part of your mind, or you can reinforce the positive. So I would just say the best way to stay positive is continue to reinforce the positive and find self-worth. And I needed help with that. Like, I need help with from a therapist. I don't, it's not like I'm doing everything on my own, but you find your self-worth and then you hold on to that, and then you have to build yourself from the ground up. And when you do that though, you build a foundation that's unshakable. See, when you don't have the parents you needed and the foundation to grow up in that in a good environment, or really be in a place where it's healthy and good for you, and you flourish, and you have to rebuild yourself from basically being a kid to building yourself into an adult, that is a freaking hard place to be. So you have to find anchors, and then the positivity comes from being grateful. And for me, I'm a half full, I'm a half glass full person. Yeah, there you go. Sorry. I'm a half full glass person, meaning I look at life as there's always something positive, there's always something good, and you can somehow, some way, eventually find the good in something. So that would be what I would have to say. All right, I'm pushing back up to read your guys' questions. Just Me asks, how is the new little one doing? How's Mama Bear doing after bringing a life into the world recently? Hopefully, I don't know if Kelsey's here, but Carter's doing amazing. He is incredible. We all are in love with him. He's the sweetest little boy in the world. And then Kelsey's obviously just trying to recover. It's hard. You guys know, all the moms know it's hard. She's having some of her own complications, which I won't get into it's her business, but I just I love her, and I just want her to continue to heal and go forward. And I bet all the moms know how hard it is to have a baby. So we're all doing good though, other than any little things that are going on. We're very blessed. We're very grateful. Magic Dance, do you still love your mom? It sounds like a stupid question, but I'm genuinely interested. That's a really great question. I don't think it's a stupid question. I don't think I'll ever not love my mom in some base. Love for a parent is very hardwired. And I believe that you can't really shut that off. Loving people doesn't really get turned off. I don't think you ever stop loving someone like that, especially someone like your mom or your dad, even if they've done the worst of things. But there's a difference in loving someone and then understanding your situation for what it is. And loving them sometimes can cloud you into want to believe things and fabricate things to make it seem like everything's better because you love them and you wish that they were different and you wish that things were different. So you can kind of put yourself in a position of that love overseeing what's best for you. I think that for me, I think I'll always love her, but that love cannot be expressed back and forth, and it was a long time to get to that acceptance. So I hope that was a good answer. But yeah, Hugh Madbro says you're cut from a different cloth. Yeah, I guess. I guess so. Sorry, I'm trying to read your guys' chats right now. Tanya, some people don't even realize they're already progressing self-awareness. Colby has a unique situation for sure. I'm sure his kids and his wife help his perspective. Exactly. Your life, you have things in your life that anchor you. Okay, here we go. Tanya also said, do you look at your mom as someone to never become or as a guide of how not to be a parent or person? I think your question kind of both pieces are similar. I think the answer to that is I I'm not going to sit here and try to pretend like my mom never did anything right. That's just not the reality. My mom had her good qualities and she did certain things, but that doesn't mean that, I don't see how different life can be as a parent specifically. Um, that's the biggest comparison I make now with her in any way, shape, or form is parenting moves and what I would do differently and how I want my kids' lives to be and how I want to shape their lives. So I don't want to emulate a lot of things that she did, but the good qualities that she did pass down. Okay, this is something that I've been working through. One of the things that is really, I think, a big deal is I had to learn where the reality of who I created, I talked about this last time, who I created as my mom in my mind versus the reality. And then when I came to the acceptance of the reality rather than the fabrication of this wonderful mother, as it's almost been beaten into your head, that eventually I just realized, okay, here's what was good. It's basically compartmentalizing. Here's what's good, here's what's bad. I can not even emulate, but just accept what was good, know what was bad, know what I'm going to do different. And now I can completely parent my kids how I feel like they should have been how I should have been parented, how I think the best. And by no means am I trying to act like I'm a perfect dad by any means. But, there's a lot of things I can say that knowing what she did wrong, obviously before all of this craziness, I can say, yeah, this is what I would do different. And one of them would be giving my kids a solid base in their life, letting them grow up without having to move around and having to deal with a lot of the stuff that we dealt with. And most of those things were just bad decisions, bad moves, and running away and all those type of things, which is something we've talked about in some of the other videos. You've already probably answered this, but do you think your mom genuinely believes the things that she has said? That's a really good question. I don't know. I don't believe I believe she's conditioned herself to believe it. I don't think she believes it in her heart because her story changes so much. I think that she's had to fabricate a reality for survival at this point, and she's had to fabricate everything in her mind so she doesn't crumble. So I don't know if it's a defense mechanism. I don't know. I mean, Dr. John is probably someone that would have a better understanding and awareness of that, something that we discussed in our video, but I I don't know. I can't imagine any scenario where she fully believes it in her soul. I don't think she does. That's my own personal opinion. Her actions say differently. I think that she seems way too cunning to be so deceived, but that's what it is. I don't know. Lady Bird's mom, do you have a relationship with your biological father? I do not. I do not. I do not know him. So let's not get too sad over here. It's already sad enough. Gosh dang. Oh, I have a surprise for you. This is something that should make you laugh. Kelsey did this for me here. You guys know it's Christmas coming up. Watch this. No, I'm not getting naked. You see? Hold on. I gotta lighten up the mood here. This is getting heavy. You ready for this? This is from TikTok, by the way. She wanted to make that clear. She's not just possessive and nuts. What do you think about that? Oh, there you go. You like that? It's hard because it's on backwards. It's a Kelsey shirt. It's actually clean, though. It actually looks good. It's a good tee. You guys like that? I hope Kelsey's watching this. It's a Kels shirt. She got it for me. I love it. It's actually a really nice shirt, to be honest with you. Anyway, I'll get back to your questions. I just had to lighten the mood a little bit because it's getting heavy over here, which is fine. It's just I told you guys we're gonna do Q&A. So, Lisa, what good things happened in your childhood? Good question. What good things? We had a lot of fun. We really enjoyed life. We went on a lot of vacations. We made things. We just had a lot of experiences, and I think that was really the sum of our lives. I think I don't know what the word would be. I felt like our lives really were summed up by the experiences we had. And we were kind of like, eventually after we moved to Arizona, we kind of became the Disney family. And it was more about, whoops, that's the wrong way. It was more about like having fun. And I feel like that was kind of a positive and a negative thing. And because the Disneyland thing was great when you're a kid, but the Disneyland thing was kind of like, oh, we don't have to deal with this kind of problem. We're not dealing with it. We're just having fun all the time. But we had a lot of fun. And we brought my friends with me. I had my best friend growing up. He was always with us on the trips. Like we just made memories. That's what I hold on to the most is all the memories that we made together. So that would be what it is. They like the shirt. I don't even know if Kel's here. But I had to represent for her. You guys can't see her in the streams, but she's right here. She's right here. It's a nice shirt too. Looks good. Do you feel safe now? That's a really good question. I don't know if it's too deep to say this, but no. And yes. I think when something like this happens, certain things in your life change the way you function forever. And so I'm always hyper aware and ready. And I don't know. I'm just I'm always on guard. If that makes sense. But other than that, I mean, I'm trying to create something different for my family going forward. So I think that's kind of the goal. Kat, when your kids are old enough and want to meet your mom, will you consider this? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And the reason being there's no reason to introduce them to someone who is going to cause more pain than anything. I've thought about that a lot before. There's no benefit there. She doesn't have good intentions for anybody. And I don't think that they would even really know what's going on. So there's really, in my opinion, there's no point in putting my kids through the same trauma. What would be the point of that? She's manipulative. She just inherently hurts everyone around her. So I would never put my kids in that position. Do you ever want to talk to her again? I don't know. I don't know. But I'm sure you guys would understand if you have people in your life that are just absolutely down the toilet. There's no what's like serving crap on a plate. What there's no goodness there, you know. And it is a complicated situation, but you know what I mean. Sending love from Canada. Thank you, Laura. From Canada. You guys are from all over the world. It's so awesome. Jules. How are you doing, Jules? Happy holidays to our favorite warriors, Colby and Kelsey. You are beautiful. You're beautiful children. Sorry. Thank you for spending your evening with us. You are loved. Thank you for spending your evening here, having fun. What is your favorite color? That's a great question. I would say, give you an example. I think it's this blue right here. Is that blue? Got a pin. I don't know. Now it's not going to work. Of course it's not going to work. It's like that blue, maybe this blue. Kind of like lighter. Kind of in between those two. That's my favorite color. It's not red. Why do you think it's red? Look, this is you. You know me. What the heck are you talking about? Red. It's not red. We just did this the other day. We did a couples quiz, and I swear, like, we know each other really well, but some things you lock in at an early point in your relationship, and I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm sure I did the same exact thing. You told me that years ago. It's not red. It's never been red. It's been blue since I was born. I've been a blue guy. Colby, do you plan on making documentaries outside of your own family situation experience? Absolutely, guys. Absolutely, yes. The whole goal is to help others. And the whole goal is to eventually get to a point where I can help other people tell their story correctly. Garrett Jeffs, my guy. What is something that helps you cope on the day-to-day? That's a great question, Garrett. Let me think about that. I'd say one of the things is day to day. So like I usually use the gym as an outlet. Day to day, you got to laugh. You got to find things to be worth getting up and going for, right? Because when you go through a lot of stuff in your life, I think one of the things that's hard is you spend your time in such turmoil that things stop mattering. And so I think the biggest point is you have to find little things that matter. And then you have to find your anchors. And then outside of that, you have to find the little joys. So like little things like your kids and just the little things like playing with them, making them laugh. I would say exercise. If I could work out every day, I probably would in some capacity. And then outside of that, just little joy things. So if you play video games or you listen to music or I don't know, you sing in the shower, you got to do it. You got to do it. What kind of cookies are you making? It's a good question. Sugar. Sugar is always sugar. Always sugar. You got to have it. We make sugar cookies with the girls and we try to do like I don't know, holiday themed. So we go hard. We do the Santa, you got to do the snowman. You got to do Christmas themed things. Garrett, love it. I love you, Garrett. I just straight up love you. Colby, would you consider doing your documentary with Hidden True Crime, Justin Love, and Nate Eaton? I feel like the best way to make it would be to there's certain aspects of how to make the documentary, and really what it breaks down to is you have the family matter, you have the reporting side, and then you have kind of everything else that's intermixed with like law, right? So I think the best way to tell that story is to intermingle a lot of moving pieces. You just have to know how to structure everything in order, and it's very complicated. As you guys know, it's a very complicated story in every way, shape, and form. There's so many moving pieces, and so I don't know. I feel like it's one of those things. I've thought about a lot about how I would do it, and so I would probably want a lot of different people to be involved. But it has to be people who have real tangible involvement, not just pulling in people. Because that's to me, that's what's so frustrating. Is that's how the media has been. Like, obviously, the media didn't know in the beginning, but there's so many people who just you would never believe how people see something like this and jump out and say, "I want to be a part of this," out of the woods. It's like, why would you want to be here, bro? Like, yeah, I can never understand it. But yeah, I would definitely consider a lot of people um if I ever were to fully make the documentary. But that is a goal of mine. And then again, like someone else asked, eventually the point is to continue to do other media. It's not just to stick to everything with my family. I just feel like that is a book open still, and those chapters need to be closed. It needs to be closed and over with. Gingerbread house competition. Guys, I don't know what it is, but I've never been able to make a gingerbread house ever in my life without it falling apart. You got to have the icing on there and it never sticks. And I don't know. It's frustrating for me. I get so irritated because I'll go all the way in. I'll go all the way in. But I'm not a big fan of gingerbread houses because they do not stick together. You got to use hot glue. I'm not getting in on the fingies. Fingies. I've been around the girls a lot. I've just been saying stuff, man. Not the fingies. I got a Kelsey shirt on tonight. We're living life to the fullest. It's almost Christmas. I done got me a haircut. Looking like what's that guy's name? Kel? From Greece with my little curl. That thing naturally falls down. Are there any Christmas traditions Tylee and JJ love that you plan to introduce to your own children to? We always did cookies. That's probably the number one thing. You have to understand, my family was kind of non-sentimental in certain ways. So, like, my mom was fun, but we didn't create traditions. We didn't do like the same things every year. We went to Vegas one year when I was 14. That was something else. I don't really think that that's the best place to take your teenage boys, but it is what it is. But anyway, we never really had traditions. We were always moving. We always had new houses. Uh, we really did family parties, but nothing was really like this repeat same thing. We never did the same time of opening gifts. Like, like traditionally, it feels like when you have other people, like you just kind of do the same type of things each year. We didn't have that kind of stuff. Why do you call Charles your father? Were you very young when he came into your life? He was my dad because he was my dad. Like, I didn't have my dad. Um, I didn't have any relationship with my stepdad before him, and then he was my dad from 9 years old on. So he was my father figure of my life. So that's why I call him my dad. I know it's very confusing. There's a lot of people involved, but he was my dad. Kelsey's very traditional. She's the one that put me on the tradition. I remember that when we were dating, this girl's like, okay, so you're gonna come over to my house for Christmas morning, and then we'll go to your house after. I was like, okay, what time? She's like, oh, just get up around 4:30. Be over here. I was like, 4:30? Are you kidding me? She's like, yeah, we do Christmas jammies and all this stuff in the morning. I'm like, no, 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 no. We are not. I remember sitting there, that blank stare. I was just out. That was just like, I was exhausted. But we do have a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun. But she is the one that put me on to all traditional things. Hi, Colby and Kelsey. Forever admire your strength and transparency going through a rough heartache and wanted to know if you could keep me in your thoughts and prayers. Absolutely. That's what we're here for, guys. If you're going through it, we're here. I know exactly how those hard nights are, and I really feel for you. And yes, we'll keep you in our prayers. And we're here to hopefully have a little fun. Are you and Kelsey and the kiddos doing Elf on the Shelf? Guys, Elf on the Shelf sounds scary to me. Oh, you guys are gonna love this. Santa Claus. We're gonna have this conversation. Val, I'm laying it out. You guys can call me whatever the word you want. You might change your opinion on me. It's fine. Here's my thing. Santa Claus is a hot button topic for me specifically. So I grew up not having Santa Claus be told to me at all. My mom never ever talked about Santa Claus. She never tried to pitch me that there was a Santa Claus. I think Santa Claus. Here's the point. Okay. If you're going to talk about Jesus and you're going to talk about Santa, in my mind, if you're telling your kids that there is a Santa and there's a Jesus at the same time, and then you show your kid this Santa Claus that's all over the place, that's being like literally is at the mall, is all these different places. This is my own opinion. I know it's a hot button. I know it's hot button. It's coming. You're explaining this thing to your kids that Santa's real and he comes over, he gives, does all this stuff. And then one day you're like, hey, or somebody, as all movies show, oh, he's not real. I feel like you legitimately cannot explain Jesus to the kids too, because how would they not feel the same thing? It's like Santa's almost more tangible than Jesus when it comes to the Christmas season, because you can show your kids all this Santa stuff, but then you're like, hey, he's not real. And then you're supposed to also try to teach them about Jesus, but it's like, I just feel like it's confusing to lie to them about Santa. I think it's cute. We even told them, hey, we know that Santa's not real, but it's cute. We can write letters, but they're very aware, very acutely aware that there is no Santa Claus. And I just feel like you're just telling them, you're building up this imaginative thing that eventually you're going to have to tell them is not true. And I just think that I can't be like, oh, well, Jesus was born on this day and this and that. And then, same thing at the same time telling them Santa. And then one day I just pull the rug and Santa's not real. Just saying. I think Santa's cute. We just talked about the cookies. We talked about all the stuff. Kelsey was like, we'll write letters to Santa. We'll do the cookies, but then at the same time, we'll have the understanding that Santa's not real. And I think that they can understand and appreciate going forward in life, knowing that Santa's not a real person. And we're not going to just one day they're just going to find out he's not real after believing so hard. There's so much faith that has to go into being a Santa believer. You know what I mean? We do. We just talked about it. Kelsey's the one that's led that. She's like, we can write letters. We can make the cookies. She's like, and then Kelsey's like, who do you think's going to eat the cookies? And Riley's like, Daddy. Yeah, it's going to be me. I'm going to eat the gosh dang cookies. I'm going for it. Let me pull up a little bit. I know you guys are asking questions. Oh, I want to answer this one. Colby, have you heard of Reverend Donna Serpina? I'm not sure what that is. Psychic medium. She told the whole story before I went to trial. I'm so sorry. It's too sensitive. Forgive me. I do not believe her. She said that she found them at a lake, all these things. I do not mess with psychic stuff. Do not believe that. I don't believe that there's anything that comes from psychics. I'm sorry. There's nothing. What are they dabbling in? That's the question I'd ask. And she was on my crap. She was blowing my stuff up. And I'm like, you have to understand, it's a sensitive time. I'm going through a lot back when this all started. And I have this woman who's telling me, this is happening. And this is like, as it's fact. I don't believe in psychics. And I don't believe it. And I watched Ghost. And the whole time she's a psychic, it's supposed to be funny, whatever the case is. I'm just saying, I do not believe in psychics. I know that they can dabble in spiritual crap. But guys, what do you think's on the other side of that door? Where do you think that power is coming from? That's the question I'd beg to anybody. And then for somebody to be so sure of themselves is dangerous to me. They're very dangerous. So do not play that game. Someone's telling you they're going to read your future. They're telling you they're going to read your palm. They're going to do all this stuff. Cut the date. No. We're not doing that. You guys, this is a perfect point. You guys understand what I have seen as far as like watching my own mom, right? So there's zero way. I'm very acutely aware of anything to do with spirituality. I'm a very curious person. I've read my Bible, I've prayed, I've asked. I'm very aware. So I do not mess around or dabble in anything of that nature. And I think the whole point is there are spiritual things that happen in this world. You have to acknowledge, you have to be understanding. And when you dabble on the wrong side of it, we have an exhibit A, and it's horrible. So no, Julie, bro. Guys, when I saw her in the documentary, my freaking stomach dropped. I've never seen her before. Her whole claim to prophetessness is just blech. Get the frick out of here, bro. It's too much self-proclaiming of being better and all this futuristic and all these things. And it's like, guys, yes, there's a lot of godly people. There's a lot of people in the Bible who have experiences, but you can also be deceived. So don't just run with the first thing and people telling you crap. Gosh, I can't stand it, guys. I can't stand it. And I could tell her and respectfully, you tell her exactly how I'm telling you. I would tell her the same thing. You need to switch it up. This whole thing is bananas. I tell Julie Rowe, you gotta start thinking this possibly isn't real. The fact that there is such a movement, have you guys noticed the movement in multiple lives? I've been hearing this whole theory for so like really hard lately, like more on like YouTube and people just kind of throwing it out there as if this is like this thing that's like newer coming around, is that people really are talking about all these multiple lives. And it's like, okay, like we're really just at a point in life where the deception is at its highest peak because you have social media, you have all these self-proclaimed prophet people, you have people leading people astray, you have constant crap going on in this world, and there's a lot of deception. And there's people who have bad intentions. They want to mislead people and they want to lead people astray. And let me tell you something. If you start following someone and then they become domineering and they become controlling and all these other things like spiritual manipulators, you got to get off the path, because that was not Jesus. Jesus is a choice. And anything you do in this life is supposed to come down to a choice. You get to make that decision. Yeah, exactly. Another point is they want money. They want money. They want to use that as a way to get you to pay them for information. If you guys want information about your life from God, you can pray. And by no means am I this perfect Christian person who is trying to give out advice. I'm just saying, like, I've seen how this is working. I see that this is the world now, and it's really, really sad, and it's really hard to watch. I just saw a really good point. Again, if you're thinking about the future and thinking about the past, you're not living in the now. You are lost 100%. And how many people feel lost? How many people wake up every day wondering what their purpose is? And then you have someone who comes around as this psychic, comes around as a prophetess, comes around as all these things that they self-proclaim, by the way, and tell you, I've got answers. It's so easy, and it's also so perfect because it gets people to believe them. So I hate to always refer back to my mom and stuff, but like this is a perfect example. If Chad sees vulnerability and he's a manipulative person, she comes to him, I love your books. I think you're this. I believe this and all this stuff. And the same thing, Julie Rose, her freaking gateway drug to him. They start having those conversations, and then he finds that wound, he finds an angle, and he pursues it. And now who knows how much more he fed into her already delusional state of wanting so bad to believe these things. And the crazy part is we were just watching, don't roast me for this, but we were just watching Twilight back and New Moon. And while we were watching them, a lot of stuff came up that I'm going to make a video about, that I noticed that are paralleled to stuff that my mom has said. And I told you guys this pop culture thing and these influences and these books can slide into people's heads, and then next thing you know, you're using it in real life. Obviously, this is a very over the top case when it comes to her, but this is how spiritual manipulation works. Is it appeals to you very well. It makes you feel good. It's a drug. It's a drug. It makes you feel better. And it tickles your ears and makes you feel great. It makes you feel like everything you're saying is perfect. That's just not what it is. I dare say that Christianity is actually not for the benefit of you feeling better, but more of a self-sacrificial life and about learning and all these other things. So it by no means is it just to please you. Kobe, stop. I love the sparkle vampires. Hey, I'm watching the movies. I've just told you. What my point is for pop culture, I've told you guys. The whole point is to prove my point is that they're pulling lore from pop culture because pop culture is influential, guys. It's like eating. When you eat something, it becomes I hate that I stumble on this word. Molecular. When you eat something, that's why people say the saying is you become what you are what you eat. When you eat something, it becomes it breaks down molecularly. Oh my goodness gracious, molecularly, and it goes into your body and becomes a part of you. It's the same thing though with media. It becomes a part of you over time. It conditions your brain, and eventually things can soak in after, especially if you're watching something on repeat. You can be conditioned. That's what it is. I saw what? Oh, I know what you're talking about. I thought that was out of left field, babe. You never said anything about the shirt. You never, excuse me. Gosh dang it. You never said anything about the shirt. I saw another comment that I was going to read, and now I'm trying to find it. I'm sorry, I lost it. Dang it. Oh, here's a good one. How has your faith been challenged and grown through all of that has happened? Thank you, Prism, for the comment. The reality of my faith being challenged was really, honestly, I think I redefined my own faith because so I grew up LDS. Someone did ask, did you go on an LDS mission? I did for like 8 weeks. It's not very long. Well, we can talk about that again. I wrote about it in the book just because it's a little bit longer of a story. Actually, I don't know if I got to that part, but yeah, I did go on a mission and I came back very quickly. And at that point, I was very ashamed. And then after I got home from my mission, I really started asking myself about my own faith, right? Because I thought I failed God. I was in a dark place. I felt like I failed everybody. I felt like my life changed. I felt like I wasn't going to marry the right person. Like I was so religious in my brain. I thought everything was over. I thought, oh my gosh, I didn't serve a 2-year mission. That's it. This is it. This is the end of my life. Like I have changed the course of everything because I did not serve that mission. So I had like a punished belief to myself. After that, I felt like I started to veer from church, and then I started feeling like I was only going to church for everybody else except me. I felt like I was always going to church because I had to, and I didn't really necessarily feel like it was a choice. So then I just had a resentment there. And then once everything blew up, once everything happened, I feel like I had to go to a place of I knew God was the only person that knew what I was going through. And I felt like I never questioned if God was real. I never questioned anything about if Jesus was real. I have a deep faith. I have so many examples in my life, deep examples of God showing up for me in incredible miracle ways that I could never, ever shy away from. But the question I had to ask myself was about being LDS or Christianity and really what's out there. And that was a question I was asking myself for a really long time. And the more that I started to read the Bible on my own, there's a moment right before I found out about my siblings. I was praying And I felt like God told me very clear as day, just restart, erase the memories of your faith and just start reading. This was like during COVID, right? So this is when everything shut down, the world's going to hell. I felt like my world was completely upside down times 1,000 while COVID's going on. And I started reading my Bible, and I started in the New Testament because I was so confused. Here's my mom saying all this religious stuff. I'm hearing all these reports about what she's a religious cult. I mean, imagine that. Like all of a sudden you're just hearing your mom's in a cult and your siblings are missing, and all these people are gone, and you're just like so confused, and like there's so much confusion. And I just strapped myself to the Bible. Like I was so stuck to reading the word. Like I just needed to know for me. And so outside of that, I just started to do that. And then once I found a foundation and a base with God that I'd never had before, everything I've gone through since then has just been me trying to believe that I'm worthy of being loved by God. I genuinely struggle with that. It's not that I don't believe God doesn't love me. It's I don't feel like I should. I feel like I'm never good enough for God, and that's on me. It's not how God presents himself. It's not what I tell you guys. It's not what I've ever shared with other people, because I know it's not true in my heart, but I think it's more of a self-doubt. And those goes into those wounds of rejection, like losing people, losing your mom. You feel the ultimate rejection. You feel like nobody loves me. And I know that that's not what my mom, like that was the least of the worries, but I had to deal with that in therapy. Is like everybody in my life rejected me, is gone and is abandoned or dead. There's no middle ground there for me. I'm completely alone. It must be me. Must be my fault. But I had to, you have to ask yourself, I never asked if God was real. I never asked if this was his doing. I know God didn't do this. I know Jesus didn't do this. But what was confusing is how could a person that I looked at who I thought was a good person, my mom, and protective, how could she also be saying Jesus? How could she also be saying all these things, but do the exact opposite? And it took me years, guys, not months, not days. I knew what she did was wrong immediately, but it was just years of freaking having to see clearly. And Kelsey's a huge part of that. If I didn't have Kelsey's perspective, I don't know. I can't even tell you. She helped me see and talk it out and really work through that stuff. And then therapy on top of that. But, I think people ask me that question a lot, like, how did you keep your faith, or how do you stay positive, this and that? It's not like I'm always positive, or I just never let go of my faith. I have a foundation God built in me. He saved my life multiple times, and he's helped me through something that wasn't my doing. It wasn't my ability to stay strong. I promise you, like I will tell you all right here, I did not give myself the strength to walk through this situation by myself. I did not have the strength for that. It was 100% Jesus carrying me through it, and then setting me down when I was ready, and baby steps. And gosh, I'm getting emotional. It's just crazy. But I feel like the way I've grown the most is just trying to want to help other people. That is like the bottom of my heart goal, is to help other people. And I know like we have people who say that, they're having their own faith crisis, or they don't know how they feel, or they're atheist, or this and that. I will just say one thing to you, to anybody who is watching this. I promise you, God exists, and he's real, and he's out there. And if you search for him, you will find him. And there's a lot of deception in this world, but he is there. And I would not be sitting in front of you if I did not have God, and I did not pray, and I did not do all those things. And I think there's a lot of misconceptions in our world. It's like this idea is there's this big guy up in the sky floating, and is he just looking down, or is it, all these conceptions we have. Jesus Christ, the realest thing in the world. And there's a lot of people that misuse Jesus. My mom did, and it killed me because how in the world can you freaking say that Jesus tried to lead you to hell and take everybody's life, nothing about it. So the reality is your first steps, your Bible, that's your base. And then outside of that, it's easy. Here's the thing, it's easy to blame God, right? People blame God immediately when things go wrong. Why'd you let this happen? How could you let this happen? Where were you? Why didn't you show up? And I'm like, I think in my mind sometimes, you have to realize as God as a parent, and sometimes parents know when you're ready for certain things and know what you're strong enough to take. And I truly don't believe you go through something that you don't have the ability to come out on the other side. It's just all choices. It all becomes about your choices. When we lost our son, I thought I was going to lose it, and I just turned to God and prayed a lot. I don't know if you meant to put a question, if there's a question there. I'm sorry if I missed that. God gives everybody a free choice. Yeah. We all have choices, guys. You are loved. All of you guys are loved. Every single one of you. There's nothing you there is every single hair on your head is counted, right? Right here. Like, you guys understand how intricately and beautifully made you are? Do you understand how you're functioning right now? You have eyes, you're breathing, your heart's pumping, your lungs are filling up. You can think, you dream, you have thoughts. Like, it's so intricate. Just the imagine what is going on inside of your body, the billions of functionalities of everything that you're doing. Every single thing that you have in your body is meticulously made to function a certain way. Think about how intricate your cells are. Just one thing. This is the type of deep thoughts. You guys want to hear, you guys are gonna think I'm crazy. The type of deep thoughts that I have are something like that. Like, my eyeball has a whole function, just one, and all these things that it does. And it's like, how can I have this proof right here and right here with you and not believe that God meticulously took his time to make me? You guys are all beautifully made. You're all beautiful. There's nothing perfect about any of us, but at the same time, we're all beautifully made. And we go through crap in this life. Sometimes, like, a lot of us sit here, it is so freaking hard to live sometimes. I feel you. And there is a journey we all have for some reason. We all do the same thing. We all wonder questions like the same type of things of heaven and what's my purpose on this life and why do I have to go through this and how am I supposed to make it through this and all these things. And it's like when you finally come to Jesus, that moment is like you're saved. And I don't just mean your soul, but like there's a real love and a genuine love. And I'll be honest with you, like, I reject that a lot from uncomfortability of vulnerability with God. And I just tell you that tonight because that's how I feel sometimes. Like, it's hard for me to accept or be loved right now. I feel like I sometimes reject some of that love because it's like, I don't know if I'm uncomfortable. I don't know if I just don't believe I deserve it, whatever the case is. But I do have a feeling of like, it's hard for me to accept God's love fully for myself because I never feel like I did anything to earn it and that's my own personal struggle. And I'm fine to share that with you because that's where I struggle the most is feeling that way, you know? But I never went at God and said, this is your fault, or this is because you did this, or could you allow this? That's not really the questions I ask. Those are not the things that I concern myself with. I don't put my mind in a place of, I know better than God. And and in my mind, that's prideful. And it makes you seem to be questioning the creator and trying to figure out something you might not ever have the answer to, which feels voidless. And I believe when it's all said and done, there will be answers. And I think you just sometimes have to be patient. You just have to be patient. Janet asks, has your mom ever mentioned before the trial that she had had a near-death experience, and do you believe that she had one? I don't know if I said this to you guys the other day. When my mom said that about the reason I was really struggling with her statement, because when she said that, I knew she fabricated that, because she would have told every single person she knew that she had had that experience, and we never heard about that experience. So when she said that in her closing statement, odd time to do that. She wanted to use that platform to spread her own fake faith. And she said that she had had a near death experience with Tylee. And I just know her too well to know she would have said that. Everyone in our family would have known that that happened had that happened. So I don't know why she needed to have a near death experience at some point. Maybe because Chad had one, she needed to validate herself with that. I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I don't understand why she felt the need that she needed to have a near death experience to validate herself for this veil idea that she crossed the veil. Um, all the other prophets of the Bible, okay, just the Bible, there's not every one of them did not have a near death experience to have an encounter with God. And that's not really the credential to have that. But I don't think she ever had one. But she's at a place now where she has to protect her mind. She has to, whatever the word is, she's fabricating so much at this point. I don't think she can keep up with it. Beth. However, I'm envious of find comfort in those love and beliefs that bring them solace. Imagine taking that away from Kobe. Guys, everyone right here. I'm telling you right now, I don't know what you're talking about exactly, Beth. You guys are all absolutely entitled to your own beliefs. But if you're asking my question, you're asking me, and like we've been very transparent on this channel. Like I had to look at what my mom said she was believing and question everything I was ever taught. And then on top of that, ask myself the same type of questions. And so when you get faced with those questions, you find out who you are. When you're down in the trenches and you're being literally whittled away, you find out who you are. And I'm not saying that, it took time to refine a lot of it, but that's when I found out my faith, when it was tested to the brink. That's when I found out. So I will always and forever publicly tell you that I have literally called out in prayer and had literal miracles in my life. Literal miracles by praying. And I'm telling you, I've watched things happen that could not have happened. That doesn't mean that everything's a miracle. That doesn't mean that everything happens in your favor. That doesn't mean that everything's peachy. This is not heaven. This is not the time where everything is great. This is a time of suffering and pain, and we're going to go through it. But we can band together. We can be here and go through it together. You don't have to be alone. And that is what I've wanted to always create on this channel, is that real conversations about real stuff where you're not going to hear this stuff other places because it's too taboo for some people, and that's fine. If it makes people uncomfortable, I get it. It's to everybody, is to each their own. But I'm telling you right now, if you're asking my advice on how to make it through your hard stuff, my advice to you is turn to Jesus Christ and pray. That's my advice to you. But not everybody's having the best time, not everybody's in that place, not everybody's in a good place. Sometimes you're in the worst part of your life. And sometimes it's just freaking hard. You are saying random stuff. You're saying random stuff. What are you doing? Elf? Elf what? Who? She must be talking to somebody else. I shouldn't have pulled up her chat. Maybe she's talking to somebody else. Curious, are you a cat or a dog person? I think cats are really nice and sweet. I mean, sometimes. I'm more of a dog person. I'm highly allergic to cats. So I will 100%, like if I'm even near a cat, I will start itching my eyes. I will go crazy if I have any type of cat near me. Like I will immediately go into allergy season over here. Colby Billy on the street. No, Billy on the street. Billy on the street is a nuisance. Cancel Billy on the street. Screaming crazy, dude. Where do you plan to go with the YouTube channel? Prism. That's a great question. We want to tell people stories. We want to start talking to different people on the podcast. Really get really good perspectives, have really, really good conversations. I want to create media for you guys, real media. So this is where we're starting, though. This is where we're starting. I asked your favorite Christian movie. That's a good question. I don't know if I have a favorite Christian movie. Favorite Christian movie. I would probably say I think The Chosen has been my favorite Christian media, period. Like with all things, I don't agree with every single thing that The Chosen chooses to do because it's very touchy, right? Like when you're doing anything about Jesus, it's touchy. But I think they do a pretty great job. So outside of that, I don't know. I have a lot of good movies. I think Fireproof's a really good movie. I think the Left Behind series was really interesting. I like Facing the Giants. I do like, what's that movie where the cop loses his daughter? Sorry if I spoiled that for you, but that's one of my favorite movies. I like that guy. And I Can Only Imagine is a good movie. Oh, is it Christmas? Did you say Christmas? Did I say Christian and you said Christmas? And this whole time I'm talking about Christian movies. Well, that's not funny. Well, favorite Christmas movie? Maybe. What's my favorite Christmas movie? I don't know, to be honest with you. I went on a whole tangent. I don't know if you said Christian or Christmas at this point now. If I just went off on Christian media, it had nothing to do with what you asked. Christmas movie. I think it said Christian. Thank you. I thought I was going crazy. Favorite Christmas movie to answer that question. I don't know. We watch Elf every year. What do we watch every year? We watch Elf every year. I would probably say Elf, to be honest with you. I feel like Elf has to be my all-time favorite because I have watched it every year since I can remember. So it's got to be the only tradition in my family. Like one of the only traditional things I've ever done is watch Elf. I like Home Alone though. I like a lot of movies. I've watched my dad liked to watch A Christmas Story, so he used to watch that every year. I don't know. I don't have a favorite, to be honest with you. I'm not the best person when it comes to favorites. When it comes, like I change. I like a lot of things, and I switch between the things that I like. If that makes sense. Is Die Hard is it a Christmas movie? Yeah. Just Friends is also a Christmas movie. If it's set in Christmas, I guess it counts. Grinch. Kelsey loves Grinch, guys. Am I a Grinch guy? I don't. Could be. Hey, thanks. Thanks, Tammy. Thought I'd give you guys a hair reveal for the first time. It's my wig. Just kidding. It's my hair, guys. Finally got a haircut. I've been trying to grow it out for a long time. I just kept it under the under the hat. But I feel like I don't know. Christmas movies, I feel like you gotta go all in on the Christmas thing. What I told you, the favorite Christmas tradition that we have is we watch the cheesiest movies you've ever seen in your life. If you guys have been on Netflix lately, there's a movie called Hot Frosty, and that is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. We watch these movies that are just so so ridiculous, so cheesy, but it's like such a it's such a tradition to watch just the absolutely cheesiest movies you've ever seen, and it's great. Sometimes you can't make it through. I know some of you have watched Hot Frosty, so don't play me right now. I know it. I know some of you have watched it. It was something, but that's what I mean by that. Don't play me right now. Don't leave me out on the ledge here. We've watched some crazy, horrible movies. The one we watched that was the worst one I've ever seen, and Kelsey still gets mad at me for this movie, is we sat through a movie called I was thinking it was called A Christmas Prince. My gosh, that movie was we rate everything. So we always say like out of 10. That was a 2. That was a 2. If I could even give it a 2. A Christmas Prince was horrid. Favorite Star Wars movie? Oh, guys, Episode 3, without a doubt. I was like 9 or 10 when that came out. And when I watched Anakin and Obi-Wan fight, I was done. That was the coolest thing ever. I love that movie. And I'll be the first to admit, I don't think that Star Wars movies have the greatest acting. I don't necessarily think that they're like these breakthrough movies. I think that the original movies are way more in depth. I think George was on a different path then, and then when he made the next ones, they're just kind of like trying to wrap it all up. But I don't know. I like all of them. I'm not the biggest fan of the new series, just being honest with you, because it's very disjointed story. It's all over the place. They had all these different directors jumping in and out, and next thing you know, everything's just like thrown in there. Everything's just like there's just no plan. They just jumped in. Colby likes anything on Lifetime. Yeah. We love us some Lifetime movies, huh? I'm taking Shark Wolf over Christmas Prince. That is how bad. That might Christmas Prince. You can look it up. I'm gonna look it up for you. You think I'm joking about this? Hold on. We're gonna do it on here. I'm gonna share my screen and everything. Give me a second. We're gonna do it. A Christmas Prince was probably the worst movie I have ever sat through in my life. Here it is on Netflix. I'm gonna share this with you so you can see it, because that's what we do when we hang out together. Ready? Watch A Christmas Prince. No, wait, this isn't it. Oh, I freaking lied to you all. I lied to you all. That's not it. That's a dang lie. That's not the movie. Now Kels has to help me. Kels, do you remember the movie? You know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm sorry. I misspoke about The Christmas Prince. I'm going to take that. That was misinformation out here, and we do not do misinformation on this channel. So The Christmas Prince is not it. It was something of that nature. So I'll give you the premise real quick. This rich dude gets hurt. He's a prince of some kind. He's a prince. Okay, so something's wrong here, because that was it. He's a prince, and he ends up in the hospital, and the lady's like a nurse, or she's a physical therapist, and like the whole thing's in the hospital, and she like falls in love with him slowly, and it's just the worst movie I've ever seen. And now I don't remember the name of it, because I just put A Christmas Prince up there, and then I bashed it, and I'm sorry now. I'm sorry, Christmas Prince. I feel horrible. That wasn't it, but I feel bad now for that guy. Anyway, there is a you guys are watching it right now. We need to do another movie night, huh? One that doesn't absolutely suck. You guys asked to watch Twilight. I don't know about that. Maybe we'll watch Twilight. Christmas with the Prince. Oh my gosh, Jules, did you find it? I'm doing it. Christmas with the Prince. Frick this. Jules, you are like literally on your crap. Do you know that? Christmas with the Prince. I think this is it. Oh, they made sequels. Get the frick out of here. It is. She found it. She found it. This is it. Pediatric. And they made sequels? No. The Royal Baby and Becoming Royal. 3 movies. You are get the frick out of here. Are you kidding me? Hold on. I got to do some research here. Oh, no. This is an atrocity. Kelsey, can you believe it? I'm sharing the screen. Hold on. It's literally got sequels. Oh my God. Let's see what the ratings are. Critic rating, 5 reviews. It's got to be a 1. It's got 1 like. I guess we just rip movies nowadays on this channel. 5.3 out of 10. Get out of here. Here it is. We're not watching it. Nope. I'm not promoting this. We've gone too far. We've gone too far. Remove. We're done with that. The fact that they made a sequel. I'm gonna leave a review, Val. I'm gonna leave a review. I sat through it. I can't get that hour and a half back ever. Proud movie nerd. I love it. You have been the plug out here, Jules. You have seriously, every time we were talking about movies, I swear you find it and have all the, you're just ready. You immediately found it. All I did was explain it and you found it. Don't watch it for real. There is Christmas with the Prince, and then like the sliver above that is the movie we watched. And I kid you not, the movie about my family is that a tiny bit better than that. That movie was seriously one of the worst movies I've ever seen. The Lifetime movie was also garbage. You know what? I'm just going to say it. They're both in the negatives. They're negatives ratings. My gosh. What have we become? What have we become? We're all movie critics now. You're all part of this. But do not watch that movie. I'm telling you right now, you will not like it. Thoughts on a Star Wars Christmas movie? Huh. Thoughts on a Star Wars Christmas movie? Like if they made one? Shoot, just put it on Hoth and have it be snowing and I'll take it. Guys, the reason I think Star Wars is so dope and the reason why I think that any of those movies like Lord of the Rings, all that stuff, is more of the strategy of the war, is more about all the other things going on in the story too. Not just like the lightsabers, but I think the war part of it is my favorite. I like the prequels personally because I thought that the political viewpoint of how all the strings are being pulled for them to all fight, I thought that was really good. I honestly believe that was good. Oh, there was a Star Wars movie that was a Christmas one. I didn't even know that. Oh man. It's on YouTube and it's 90 minutes long, guys. Could I make it through? Probably not. Probably not. We'd all end up just laughing. We'd probably want to turn it off instantly. You pretend to like Star Wars. You don't have to like Star Wars. It's all right. Each your own, guys. We don't have to like all the same things. We just have fun. We just hang out. All right. Do you guys have any more questions before the night continues? I read all of our Patreon members' questions. You guys have had some really good questions. I also appreciate you guys sitting here and going through some of the hard parts of answering these questions. But we will talk about, we're going to get into pop culture at some point. I have a love for pop culture. I think it is very, very relevant to a lot of things. And I think it influences us more than probably people understand. And so that's what it is. Do you plan on watching your mom's trial here in AZ? I admire your strength and perseverance overcoming your trauma. It's inspiring. Thank you, Elle. I haven't made that decision yet, to be honest with you. I don't know where I'll be at in that time. I don't know if here's what I'll say, and I think that you guys should be in the same place. When there's something in your life that is continually traumatizing, I think you have to make a decision. Is this good for me? Is this healthy for me? Is this productive for me? And eventually, and for the first time in my life, I'm actually asking those questions about myself and putting myself in an important role in my life. I've never done that. I've always been someone who's more of a throw myself off and not care about myself enough. So if there's a real reason and a feeling and I want to be a part of it and I feel like it's actually going to bring healing, then yes, maybe. I don't know though. I haven't really gotten that far. Can't get that back. I'm telling you, we've had some movies where I have really questioned what's going on in life. Hot Frosty was not a horrible movie, but my gosh. How's the new baby? He's doing amazing. He is doing amazing. But yeah, we talked about this, guys. I mean, I want to always be transparent with you about where we're going in the future. Even if we're telling other people's stories, we're doing documentaries, whatever, wherever we end up here, I just want to, I feel like we need to always have fun, talk about other things, and I don't know, we just got to enjoy our lives. We got to enjoy our lives. Thank you again for making my face hurt. The smiling is causing more team administration. Funny. Good night. Good night to you. Have a great night. But yeah, we're going to talk about a lot of different things on our channel. A lot of things are going to go forward. But I do want to say thank you guys again. Always literally love hanging out with you. This is why we do lives. This is why we talk to each other. This is why lives are important. And you guys know that I just love when we're all here. I could do this all the time. Just sit here and talk. We talk about whatever. We've talked about that before. We could literally sit here and talk about anything for hours. But one more time, we'll say it. Shout out to the t-shirt. Got the Kelsey t-shirt on. But you know I love you guys. I appreciate you. As always, I will let you guys know what is going on the community tab. If we're doing a movie night, maybe here's what we're going to do. Look for a poll on the community tab soon. I will ask you guys what movie we should watch and we're going to do it. We're going to do another movie night. That is not going to be a one-time thing, and we're going to have fun. But if I do not see you guys before it is the 25th, which is Christmas, Merry Christmas to you. I really hope you guys have an amazing Christmas this year. I know there's a lot of people going through a lot of things, but just know that we are here for you as a community. We always want to be open arms in that way, praying for each other, there for each other. We can just do life together. So I love you guys. I appreciate you. Thank you. Have a great night. Have a Merry Christmas, and I'll see you guys soon.